Have you ever watched one bad movie from your favorite director and suddenly thought they were overrated the whole time? Or maybe your football team loses one match and you instantly believe the season is doomed. One recent event suddenly feels bigger, more important, and more true than everything that came before it. That's not logic. That's recency bias. And once you notice it, you'll realize it quietly controls financial decisions, relationships, elections, online trends, and even the way you judge yourself. Because the human brain has a strange habit. It treats what happened recently as if it matters more than reality itself. Imagine this. A student studies consistently for an entire semester. Good grades, solid understanding. But during the final exam, they panic and perform badly. The next day, they suddenly think, I'm terrible at this subject. Not because of months of evidence, but because the most recent experience emotionally overwrote everything else. That's recency bias in action. Our brains naturally give more weight to recent information, while older information fades into the background. From an evolutionary perspective, this actually made sense. Thousands of years ago, remembering the latest danger could keep you alive. If a predator appeared near the river yesterday, your brain wanted that memory to feel urgent and important. The problem is, modern life constantly exploits this mental shortcut. Social media is built on it. News channels depend on it. Markets react to it, and algorithms amplify it every single day. Think about internet trends. One viral video suddenly makes someone look like a genius. One scandal makes the internet act like a celebrity's entire career never mattered. One bad product launch causes people to say a company is finished. The latest event becomes the entire story. And the scary part? Most people don't even notice they're doing it. Recency bias becomes especially dangerous in investing. When stock prices rise for months, people begin believing prices will rise forever. During crashes, people become convinced the economy will never recover. In both cases, people mistake recent patterns for permanent reality. This is one reason investors buy near market tops and panic sell near bottoms. They aren't reacting to long-term evidence. They're reacting emotionally to what happened most recently. And this doesn't only happen in finance. It happens in relationships too. One argument can suddenly outweigh years of trust. One compliment can temporarily erase months of insecurity. The newest emotional experience hijacks perspective. The brain zooms in so hard on the present moment that it forgets the larger pattern. And there's another reason recency bias is so powerful. Our memory is not a perfect recording device. It's more like a constantly edited story. Recent experiences are easier to recall, easier to feel, and easier to imagine repeating again. Psychologists call this the availability effect. If something is fresh in your mind, your brain assumes it must also be important or likely. That's why after hearing about a plane crash on the news, some people suddenly fear flying, even though statistically driving remains far more dangerous. The recent event feels emotionally larger than the actual probability. Emotion magnifies memory, and memory shapes judgment. Now think about your own life. Have you ever had one productive week and suddenly believed your life was finally changing forever? Or one terrible day that convinced you everything was falling apart? That's recency bias, turning temporary moments into permanent conclusions. Humans are constantly trying to predict the future, but instead of analyzing the full picture, the brain often takes a shortcut. What happened recently will probably happen again. Sometimes that works, but many times, it completely distorts reality. So how do you fight recency bias? The simplest method is surprisingly powerful. Zoom out. Look at patterns instead of moments. Instead of asking, what just happened? Ask, what usually happens? One bad workout does not erase a year of progress. One successful video does not guarantee long-term success. One rejection does not define your future. And one mistake does not define who you are. The broader timeline almost always tells a more accurate story than the latest emotional moment. Recency bias is dangerous because it feels rational. The newest information feels vivid, urgent, important. But recent does not automatically mean true. And in a world obsessed with breaking news, viral trends, instant reactions, and endless scrolling, the ability to zoom out may become one of the most valuable skills a person can develop. Because sometimes the biggest mistake we make is believing the latest chapter is the entire story. And once you understand that, you start thinking a little more clearly than most people around you. If you like this content, and if you want to discover more ways of how our brain plays with us, click that subscribe button and follow us for more.